Hello, my friends. Welcome to r/confession, where people spill their deepest secrets to the world. Guys, I know many of you love revenge stories, and r/confessions to me is one of my favorite subreddits, guys. And in this episode, you're gonna hear a bunch of stories. I'll start off with the lighter stories and end with a more twisted post for all of you who like that kind of stuff. I hope you stay for the stories today and do hit that subscribe button for future stories. I worked at a fast food chain in the 90s when I was in high school. When I worked there, they were in the process of phasing out denominational gift certificates, like the $5 ones, the $10 ones, and the $25 ones. The way it worked was if you spent more than half of the certificate, they would give you the cash back. So if you ordered $5.50 worth of food and gave them one of the $10 gift cards, they would give you $4.50 back in cash. My manager was in charge of destroying all the existing certificates as we transitioned to the more traditional credit card looking gift cards. So my manager said that he shredded the gift certificates like he was supposed to. But one night, when I was closing, I found 2 boxes of gift certificates tucked deep in the back of the storage room. They were filled with the certificates that were supposed to be shredded. So I scooped them up, brought them out to the dumpster in trash bags, and threw them away. After we closed, I came back and recovered everything and brought the certificates home. I counted them. There were 1,000 certificates at $25, 1,000 certificates at $10, and 500 at $5. None of them had expiration dates. The total haul was $40,000 in fast food certificates. My manager never said a word about the certificates going missing, and he couldn't, as he'd reported them destroyed as we received them from the customers. Over the next 3 years, my girlfriend and I toured every location in our state, and the next 4 states over, ordering food and getting the change. We never kept track on a spreadsheet or anything, but we got good at knowing what menu items were just about half. After the first year, we started saving the change in a shoebox and let it build up. I bought my first car for $7,800 cash from the change, and for some reason, a kiddie cone was $1.05. So if you gave them a $5 certificate, they gave you $3.95 back. We threw away a lot of kiddie cones, I can tell you that. Edit. I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. To answer some questions, we could hit about 10 to 12 stores in a day if we drove around for 5 to 6 hours. Both of us would use a gift certificate, and it was not that labor intensive. The only cameras in the store were at the cash registers and the takeout window. The manager has no clue who took them, or at least never treated me differently. Each gift certificate had a generic PLU on them. Example, all the $25 ones were PLU number 756. When we stopped selling the certificates, we were told to keep honoring them because they were prepaid. They were not coupons. And one can only eat so many ice cream cones. I would have loved to have seen the reaction of the store manager when he found out that his little stash of certificates that he was hoarding went missing. I'm also a little upset about the kiddie cones getting thrown out though. Cones don't deserve that fate, guys. They deserve to be eaten. When I was 19, I was running late to work in my tiny economy car that was basically running on fumes of gas. I didn't come to a complete stop on a right turn, and lights immediately flashed behind me, so I pull over. I know that I've barely got any gas at all, and was almost to a gas station, hence why I rolled through the stop a little, trying not to have the car die. At the time, around 1995, a new digital phone had come out called the VoiceStream, which is now T-Mobile, and their whole big thing with phones was phones were digital and not cellular. They were the first phones with caller ID, and one of the big things the salesman had said over and over was since it was digital, the signal couldn't be triangulated or traced. Not that I care, but it stuck in my mind. Well, as I gave the cop my license, registration, and insurance card, I got an idea. I knew if I was late to work, I was gonna lose my job as they were super strict there, and I'm just hanging on by a thread. I know, top employee. So I get an idea, and right after I hand the papers to the cop and he's walking back to his cruiser, I called 911 and tell the operator that I just saw a guy with what looked like to be a shotgun with a mask walk into a 7-Eleven that was about 2 blocks away. I confirmed the address and hung up. About 30 seconds later, the cop comes sprinting to my car, hands me all of my stuff, and in a rush says, "Come to a complete stop next time," and then peels off to the direction of the store. I pushed my car to the gas station that I'd almost made it to, and I felt pretty pleased with my ingenuity. I was an idiot, and I confess. Edit. Wow, this blew up. I forgot to mention that I would have gotten arrested, booked, and released because I was driving with a suspended license for unpaid traffic tickets, and I had a bench warrant for it because I'm an idiot. Okay, first of all, don't try this at all, guys. I'm pretty sure it won't work in the modern day. So, my 3-year-old nephew once dialed 911 on my phone while it was locked, because when a phone's locked, you can still dial the emergency number. Nobody in the house knew, and about 4 hours later, 2 officers showed up at our house to check and see if everything was all right. They went inside the house, they looked around, making sure that nobody was, hitting the kid or whatever. And they told us that, 911 calls are traced to your location on your phone, so they can figure out where it comes from. I used to work at this restaurant, and the management there was just awful, and I hated the GM. She would always complain about everything, and one thing specifically was how there would be 1 or 2 customers who would order food and then never show up. She ended up letting the servers and hosts eat the food, so it gave me an idea. One day, she said something that really pissed me off, so I called my job and ordered a bunch of food under a different name, and then that customer would never show up. It made her livid, and it gave me the bold idea of doing that whenever I want lunch. So I started to do it an hour or so before my break, and I would order whatever I felt like eating that day, and when they'd call and cancel, I'd ask a supervisor if I could have the food, and they'd say sure. I did this for the entire 3 years that I worked there, 2 times a week, sometimes even 3, and I didn't ever get caught. And I've even had a coworker help me by being the one to answer the phone. It was kind of funny, and that place was awful, so I kind of deserve it. Edit. I should also add that this was a chain restaurant worth millions of dollars. I would never do something like this to a small family-owned restaurant. Also, I know I'm wrong for stealing. I was 16 and trying to piss off my GM for the time I was there. That's a pretty good petty revenge as well, OP. I gotta give you that one. I mean, I know they're a corporation and make millions a year, but, theft is theft. I don't know, that might be an unpopular opinion. I registered a company, bought all the takeaway boxes from Amazon, signed up for a few delivery apps, made a few social media accounts, and printed leaflets that I drop in mailboxes. And I resell microwave meals. On some meals, I add something to make them look better, like cheese. So far, it's around 200 pounds a day in revenue. Nobody suspects a thing, and soon, someone will come for a hygiene inspection, but I'll pass that check without any problems. It's not illegal to operate out of your own kitchen. Should I feel bad? I kind of feel proud to be fair and free as a bird from the 9-to-5 life. Edit. Please stop commenting on the legality of this. I'm doing everything by the law. I'm in the UK, so yes, I can work out of a non-commercial kitchen. And yes, I am registered and will pay taxes in January. And yes, I have my certificates. And I also have insurance. This was back in, let me think, maybe 1997. I was 38 and my daughter was 18, and she was dating Harry, who was 24. I was an alcoholic and dabbled in other drugs, mostly coke. I was not a good person, let alone mother. I was generally inattentive and cared more for my alcohol and drugs than her, especially in her teen years. I'm 14 years sober now. I disapproved of my daughter dating Harry, but I never told her why. He would flirt with me constantly, and the age difference also creeped me out. Also, he was an alcoholic and drug user just like me, and she broke up with him over his alcoholism. Soon after she moved away, not too far, but regardless, she didn't live with me anymore. Harry kept calling me and asking if we wanted to get drinks. I turned him down, but then one day, he said he had a bunch of coke and I couldn't resist. He came over, we did all of it, and ended up sleeping together. He was a very good-looking guy. He looked a lot like that ridiculous 80s Justin Bieber picture that was on the front page of Reddit. And this is what actually made me think about him. For the next few months, maybe 3 to 4 months, he would sometimes come over and we would do the same thing. Do coke and I'd sleep with him. Then I got pregnant. I knew it was by him as we'd done it a few times without protection. And I never told him I was pregnant and went and got an abortion and kept it a secret. Anyways, I stopped seeing him after that. It was too weird. I also got sober for like 4 months before relapsing. Fast forward 2 years, and my daughter contacts me and tells me that she got back with Harry and that he's fully sober. I was mortified, honestly. He was gonna tell her that we slept together, and she's gonna hate me for life. They came over one day and said hi, and when my daughter was gone, Harry told me that there's no reason to tell her about what happened, and I agreed. It's been 16 years of marriage on their part, and they have a kid together. Harry got cancer, then beat it, and I got sober. That's basically it. I don't see them very often as they live in Texas and I live on the East Coast. But whenever I do, there's always that tension between me and Harry. It's literally the first thing that comes to either of our minds. I can just tell. Not like sexual tension, it's more like, why did we have to do that? What's wrong with us kind of tension. I think about this often, especially when I see my grandson. I always think that it could have been my son if things had gone differently, but wow, what a disaster that would have been if I decided to keep that child. I think it's safe to say that this story is the one that ends this episode of r/confession. Guys, what are your opinions? I want to know what you guys think, so leave a comment below. If you guys aren't subscribed, do hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future stories. See you guys in the next one.